I might even go, oh!
Oh, why? Alright, let's hurry.
Oh, no. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Why Would You Show Me This? I am Will.
And I'm Dani.
And this is episode 28 of the podcast, as well as episode 4 of our current David Lynch marathon. This episode, we did The Straight Story.
Yes, we did.
Which is kind of a sore thumb in all of Lynch's filmography. Maybe not sore thumb is the best way to say it. Sticks out a little bit from all the rest of his films. I'll read the synopsis real quick. It's very short. An old man makes a long journey by lawnmower to mend his relationship with an ill brother.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much the movie. That's pretty much the damn movie. So what did you think?
I liked it.
Yeah?
I mean, there's really not a whole lot to not like about it.
It's hard to not like this movie. Yeah.
Because, I find it funny. I think I asked you about this, where I asked, is it called The Straight Story because that's what it is? Like, that's what Lynch was like, this is it. This is the one.
Yeah.
Where you can follow it from beginning to end and know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. No,
but I find that it's not. It's the name of the brothers. It's their last name.
Yeah, it's their last name, Alvin Straight and Lyle Straight. And also, Lynch came on to the film once the script was already written. Because it is based on a true story. This is based on an actual thing that happened. Obviously, the whole movie isn't... I take some leeway with it. Yeah. So, I believe it was Mary Sweeney, a person who Lynch has worked with often. She let him read the script, and he loved the script so much that he wanted to direct the movie. So he did, and it's not your typical Lynch film. There's a beginning, middle, end. You kind of you know what's happening. It's a very emotional story.
It's heartwarming, which
heartwarming.
Is not something you would call a lot of his filmography.
No, not at all. I would say, Wild at Heart, last episode, thematically and emotionally is similar because I believe Wild at Heart is a very positive, uplifting kind of thing. To really, once you get to the end of it,
sure,
it's kind of. I think that it was kind of about love, going through all this shit and continuing to be there. Sure. So Straight Story is.
So let's focus on that.
Yeah. Straight Story is kind of about a love that has been lost between the brothers, and
they haven't seen each other for 10 years.
10 years, and Alvin is trying to set it right because Lyle has just had a stroke, and he can't drive, and he's a man that is very
self-sufficient.
Yes, self-sufficient. He doesn't like to ask people for things. Even if he does ask people for things, he pays them. Once he helps them, he says plenty of times in the movie he just wants to do this his way.
Yes.
Because him and his brother were very, very close before everything went down with them.
We don't even actually find out why they stopped talking.
No, that's never a part of it.
Alvin mentions that he doesn't even really remember what they were so mad at each other about. Yeah,
and also at this point it doesn't really matter. Yeah. I mean, they're both old men on their way out. There's a scene in the beginning where Alvin goes to the doctor, and it doesn't sound great. It's not a death sentence, but Alvin's pretty like, I'm not going to do anything that you tell me to do, so I'm just going to keep living the way I live, and whatever happens, happens. As
people are wont to do.
Yeah, most people are like that. Yeah, I mean, slightly spoilery if you don't want to know the big reveal at the end. Lyle turns out to be Harry Dean Stanton, one of Lynch's friends and favorite people to work with. And Harry Dean Stanton pretty much did that. He smoked his whole life.
Yes, he did.
Right up until he died.
Yes.
So I understand the whole, look, I'm living my life the way I want. Thank you for your concern, but I'm going to keep doing what I want to do.
I was gonna say, there's some very Lynch moments in this though. Like there are moments that occur that you're like, that's weird, And that's David Lynch.
Yes. And what if we go through them? Let's start at the beginning. Sissy Spacek's character. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a very Lynch-esque character.
Lynch seems to like people who talk differently.
Yeah, Lynch likes people who talk differently. Just different people in general. Mm-hmm. So Sissy Spacek is playing Richard Farnsworth, who plays Alvin Straight. It's his daughter, and she has some sort of lisp.
It's not a lisp.
It's a stutter.
She stops and starts.
Yeah.
She has what you would call stilted speech.
Yes.
That's when she audibly has trouble getting words out.
Yes. And you seem to believe that she probably was on the spectrum.
Possibly.
Yeah, her character.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
She too is also very self-sufficient, though.
She is. Yeah.
I definitely think people probably hear her speak and immediately assume that
Alvin even has a line about that.
Yeah, he talks about that.
Yeah.
I definitely think she could be, or it just could be that that's how she speaks and everything else is fine.
Yeah. I mean, we do learn that she has children.
Yes, she did.
She did, and unfortunately something happened that was not her fault, and they were taken away from her. Yeah. And it's a very nice scene. That's the thing about this movie, is that there's so many very nice, emotional, like, just kind of like, it just squeezes your heart scenes in this movie.
She's very worried about him venturing out on his own.
Yes, as everybody is, basically. Yeah. Even his Alvin has a small group of old man friends, which are very funny.
They are.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is Alvin's gearing up to go out on his adventure, and he's buying things at the Ace Hardware, and he points at a grabber thing.
Yeah, grabber.
And he says, "I want to buy that grabber," and the guy is like, "Well, Alvin, that's my grabber." He's like, "It's gonna take me like 2 weeks to be able to get a new grabber in." And he's like, "Well, I'll give you $10 for it."
Well, and he has 2.
Yeah, he has 2 already.
He has 2 grabbers. He just doesn't want to give them up.
No, he likes them a lot.
Yes, he does.
And another one of Alvin's friends says, "What are you going to use that grabber for, Alvin?" Alvin says, "For grabbing."
For grabbing. I mean, what else?
It's if you love, like, watching, like, older people in films, like, I don't know, Grumpy Old Man always comes to mind.
Well, it's funny because these interactions seem like...
They're so genuine.
They do seem really
genuine. Yeah.
Like, they seem like actual conversations these guys would have.
Yes.
So that's fun.
Definitely.
He does get the grabber.
Yes, he gets the grabber. He needs the grabber.
Yeah, he needs it.
He needs the grabber.
So he ends up venturing out.
Yes. Right? And one of the first things that happens is his lawnmower breaks down.
Yes.
And he has to start everything all over again, basically. And he buys a lawnmower from Big Ed.
Yes,
Everett McGill. Big Ed from Twin Peaks. Of course, I don't think Lynch has ever made a film with somebody that isn't from one of his other films.
Yeah, I don't think
it's always very incestuous with his with his actors and characters.
That's
and things.
True. He gets a new one.
Yes.
Big Ed.
Yeah.
Ventures out. Comes across a runaway.
Yes.
Kind of helps her out a little bit. I don't want to get into what they.
Yeah, we won't. We'll give you a quick little snippet of the things in the movie. Really go watch it.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I don't think I suggested any of the other ones.
I don't think Danny has said no. Blue Velvet.
Okay.
I think Blue Velvet is the one you've liked the most so far.
Yeah. Well, I like this one most now. This one's my new favorite.
Oh, good.
But I do suggest seeing this one because it's not upsetting, really. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah.
But that's about it. There's nothing very genuinely upsetting.
And really, it's sad, but it's also there's a very heavy message that this film is sending, which is, no matter what you've been through with the people that you love in your life, it's not worth holding a grudge for however long. Like, these brothers held a grudge for a decade.
Well, it's time wasted.
It's time wasted. They're old men, and they wasted 10 years of not having their relationship because of whatever. And that's the thing. That's the great thing about the movie, is that the movie doesn't tell you what it was, because in truth, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it was. It should have never kept them apart for a decade.
That's true.
So, But there's lots of little things that add to that throughout the film, especially with when he comes across the runaway.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite scene in the movie. No. Actually, it's not my favorite scene. It's my second favorite scene because it's super David Lynch, and I think you should talk about it because before we watched the movie, I told Danny, I said, okay, so this movie is the least Lynch film of Lynch's films, but there are scenes where you know it's a Lynch film. So, please.
So there's a scene, I guess, where he's pulled over to the side for whatever reason. I can't remember why he was pulled over, but off camera, you hear a car hit something and stop. So he gets off the lawnmower and goes over to see what's going on, and a woman has hit a deer. Or an elk, I think it is.
It's deer.
Is it? Well, if it has horns, it's an elk. But we won't get
she
into
says deer. So.
Okay, it's true. So she starts basically ranting and raving about how she's hit 13 deer in the past week. And that she loves deer.
And I love deer!
But it's a very, very Lynch moment because it's very strange and out of place.
Yes.
And not realistic at all.
No.
Like you would never, I feel like you would never encounter somebody losing their mind over that, unless maybe they did actually hit 13 deer in 1 week, and then it would be like, okay, what's going on?
I believe what Lynch is trying to say, if he's trying to say anything with that scene, is just the human thing of making the same mistake over and over and over.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
You know, I feel that he's on the road for so long, and I feel like that road represents life. Mm-hmm. And she is the same mistake over and over that you would make, that he has made by not reconnecting with his brother and things like that. He's talked about how he's made mistakes in his life, and he acknowledges that. There's also another scene where a bike rally just goes right past him. Of course, the bike rally is a bunch of young people. Obviously, he's old. He's being passed by the young people. I feel like that the deer scene, that's what that represents. Right. At least to me, that's what I get from that.
That makes sense.
Because I think Lynch likes to do that where he goes pretty crazy with certain scenes, to heighten the message.
Yeah.
Or the feeling. To heighten the message or the feeling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually definitely.
Usually the feeling. In this movie, I believe it's the message.
It's the message this time, but usually it's the feeling.
It's usually the feeling that he's hyping up, for sure.
At one point, because I can't remember, between the runaway and then him meeting all the other folks that he meets when he goes down the hill.
He gets about, I believe he's probably halfway he's going from Iowa to Wisconsin.
Yeah, on a riding
on a John Deere riding lawnmower. And so at one point he is about halfway, and he gets going down this hill, and he just can't stop himself.
Well, he has a trailer, it's kind of a trailer. It's a makeshift trailer on the back of the tractor trailer.
Holds all his brown swagger.
Yeah. And because he's going downhill, that ends up pushing the mower that he's on because it's so heavy. And it really, you're not supposed to be towing stuff with your riding lawnmower. That's not usually what's
you're not supposed to be riding a lawnmower from one state to another.
No, but so that's what happens, and he starts going really fast, and he can't stop, which is really kind of scary. And I feel that's representative, maybe, of like coming to the end and knowing you are and not being able
barreling
to stop
towards the end of your mortality.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's exactly what that's supposed to represent.
Well, I mean, it's also
because he's so scared.
He's going.
He's terrified because he's like, if I don't stop, this is it for me. I'm an old man. If I come off this thing, that's it.
And also he wouldn't have been able to make up with his brother. It would have been a big thing for him.
Oh yeah.
But also another one of Lynch's little moments is his what would you call it? Something he does often in his films. A little Lynch staple. Right before we get to that scene, we're watching a house just burn.
It should be explained that there are firefighters in this town that he ends up in that are doing an exercise. in which they're doing. I mean, it's not a controlled burn, but I mean, the house is set on fire so that they can do the exercise of putting the fire out.
Yes.
Which is representative of the incident.
That yes.
That lost his daughter,
her children. Yeah.
Because there was a fire, and one of her children, I guess, was very badly burnt, and when police came and assessed her, so to speak, they assumed that she was slow. Yes. And took her children away.
Unfortunately. But yeah, and then from then on, it's Alvin being helped by this man. He said he's worked for John Deere for a while, and he gets some people out to help
work on his
Sorry, I'm going a bit far.
Oh, okay.
My favorite scene happens in this moment, in this portion of the film. Alvin is visited by one of his friends, and they were both in the war, in World War II, and they go to the bar, and Alvin doesn't drink anymore, so he has a glass of milk.
Does he have milk?
He does have milk. It's a glass of milk. And his friend is drinking a beer. And this is my favorite scene of the film. Probably one of my favorite scenes ever. Because it's just, it's not something that I feel like you've seen a lot. It's them talking about their time in the war and these horrible things that they've gone through, and they're just reliving it. And you can tell it's something that they just will not shake. These horrible things that have just kind of attached themselves to their life, and they every once in a while they revisit them and feel those same feelings, and it's just very unfortunate, and it's a very great scene to see, because not many things have done it. Actually, Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line, I feel, shows the effects of war psychologically very well, and I think this scene in particular does that also. It's a very great scene. It's one of my favorite scenes, and it's just every time I watch it, I just get sucked in, and it's very emotional. I love that scene a lot.
It's a good scene.
It's very great. You don't see it coming.
No,
that's another thing. It seems like a happy, like, oh, my friend's here, we're gonna go hang out, and then it's just this very, very tough to stomach almost scene of them recounting the terrible things they've experienced. But it goes along with the whole theme of the movie, of just life and what you go through, and the things that you should and shouldn't do, the mistakes you make.
After that is one of my favorite scenes, actually, where it's such an innocuous scene where Alvin asks the man who's helping him if he can use the phone.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't want to go inside the guy's house to use the phone, and asks him if he has a cordless phone, which he does, and he hands it to him. He ends up calling his daughter and letting her know that he's okay and all that stuff, and
to send him his Social Security check.
Yes,
so he can pay for the repairs.
He needs it to pay the repairs to the riding lawnmower. So, and it's funny because when the guy comes back out to check on him, the phone is on the porch, and there's money under it to pay for the call. Yeah. So that's what kind of man Alvin was. That's indicative of who Alvin is. Yeah. He doesn't take things.
Well, he's also offered a ride.
Yes.
By the same man. This is the John Deere guy that helped him when he came flying down the hill. He's basically staying in this man's shed in his backyard.
I mean, he won't stay in the house.
He won't stay in the house.
He sleeps in the little makeshift trailer that he's dragging.
Yeah. So yeah, and at the end of that scene, we get the brothers that come and fix the lawnmower.
Yep.
They try to get a little bit of money out of Alvin that they probably shouldn't.
They try to get a lot of money.
They try to get a good. They take it down at least $60-$70 once he talks to them about it.
Because they didn't do anything.
Yeah. Also, brothers that are bickering, and a whole nother the theme of brotherhood and not wasting that time comes back in that scene.
Yep.
And then he gets back on the road. And I'm what happens in between that when he goes and sees Lyle? Because that's near that we're at the end of the movie at that point.
Well, there's a scene where
near the end of the movie.
Near the end of the movie, I can't remember who they are exactly, but they're a bunch of younger guys. I don't know if they're the biker guys. I think they are. Those are the guys who passed him.
That's earlier in the film.
Oh well.
Yeah.
And they talk to him.
They talk to him. They say, "What's the worst part about getting old?"
And he says, "Remembering when you were young."
Yeah, I think that scene hit you a little.
It did a little.
Or that line hit you a little bit.
A little bit until I talked to my mom about it, and she went, "No, it's not." She said, "That's not the worst part."
I'm sure it's one of them.
It's one of them, but according to my mother, it's not one of them to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that struck me a little bit because it's like that's rough. You know?
There's a lot of rough points in the movie.
It's just a lot of like getting old sucks.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the gist.
And it's interesting because I think this is a film that you can watch every 10 years and get something new out of it.
Yeah, probably.
As you get closer to the age that Alvin actually is.
Yeah.
Understanding more about what it feels like to have life be drifting further and further away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny enough because I think when Lynch made this, it was 1999. So he was in his 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was late 40s, early 50s. So I guess
right.
I guess he could probably put himself in that headspace around that time.
Lynch is born old.
Lynch was born, like, yeah. Kind of.
Lynch was a 50-year-old coming out of the womb.
Sure. Until the 90s, he got really into rock and metal.
Yes.
And yeah. I mean, even in the past 10 years, he's been doing his music. So, but yeah, we get to so basically near the end, Richard is not Richard. Alvin. Richard is the actor. Alvin is going down the road to his. He finally has a beer.
That's right.
He gets to Lyle's town. He stops in at a bar and he goes, "You know what? I've been on the road so long." At this point, he's been on the road for 3 months. And he says, "I want a nice cold beer." Mm-hmm. So he has a Miller Lite. Yes, he does. And he says it's delicious. And we'll believe that for this movie. Not having a beer after a long time, I'm sure Miller Lite is very delicious.
Oh, yeah.
But, so he does that. He asks for directions. And he gets going to Lyle's place. And he breaks down.
Yeah.
Yet again.
Of course.
But this time, someone comes up behind him. On their tractor, a bigger tractor.
Yep.
And they say, "What's going on?" Blah, 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 everything. And then he says, "Why don't you try it again?" And he tries it. It works.
It works. It comes back on.
Yeah. And then he goes and he comes outside of Lyle's place.
The guy indicates to him where to go. Because there's a fork in the road. So he indicates to him as he's driving on what direction he needs to go.
And he gets to Lyle's place. He yells for Lyle. Because he's not even sure if he's alive or dead because he had a stroke, and some people said they haven't seen him.
He hasn't bothered calling him.
Yeah. So he gets there, and we get the emotional reunion. But it's really just like the rest of the movie, where it's just enough. Mm-hmm. It's just enough. Lyle says he looks at the lawnmower and says, "You rode that all the way here to see me." Yeah. And Alvin, right? Alvin Straight. Alvin says yes, and Lyle cries a little. About 1 or 2 tears come out, and over. The movie's done.
And that's it. That's all you need.
It's true. I mean, really, what else do you want?
Yep.
I mean, the movie came and it did what it was supposed to do.
It did.
So, one tidbit that I will say about the movie,
Richie's not in that.
Tidbit is not in this movie.
Tidbit, by the way, is
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. That's Lynch apparently has nicknames for just about everybody he works with consistently.
Laura Dern is Tidbit.
Tidbit.
Naomi Watts is shit. I forget what Naomi Watts is. It doesn't matter. You guys can look it up.
What's Kyle?
Kyle's Kale.
Kale.
Yeah, he's the only man I think that I've heard that has a nickname. Mm-hmm. Maybe there are others, but so Richard Farnsworth. When making this film, he actually was dying of cancer. So it adds another layer to his performance. Because there's some reality in him going to the doctors.
Oh, very much so.
All that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's.
I'm sure that's probably a big reason why he ended up choosing to do the film.
Yeah, and I think it's a big reason why the film works so well, and why he's great in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's wonderful.
Oh yeah, I mean he's the best in it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just thought that added a whole new layer to the movie. That really makes you enjoy it that much more. It's demand.
It's sad.
It's sad, but it's
you admire it.
It's as an artist, it's admirable. I think
very
because
much so.
just looking in the face of death and making art about that, it means something to me.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah,
it's a good film.
It's a great film.
I'm glad I've gotten to see it before the insanity of the next movie that is 3 hours long.
Yes. The only possible finale for this is Inland Empire. So we are watching that for the next episode, and I'm sure that will be a pretty long episode because there's gonna be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that'll probably be our longest one.
Of these Lynch episodes for sure. Yeah, for sure. So what did you think? What's your rating?
9.
9? Oh shit! Wow. I love it. I'm great. I'm right there with you. I actually think I might even just give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, I'm sure.
This is perfect.
No reason not to.
It's a lovely little surprise in Lynch's filmography if you don't know about this film and then you watch it.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
It is on Disney Plus. It is a Walt Disney film.
It is a Disney film.
It says it right at the front.
Directed by David Lynch.
It's one of my favorite title sequences to see now.
A
Walt Disney Pictures presents a David Lynch film. It's fantastic.
And of course, it's the same font he always uses.
Always.
So it's just oh, this is fucking weird.
Yeah. So 9 and a 10.
Yep. There you go.
Watch A Straight Story. It's on
it.
Disney Plus. Most people have that now.
I'm sure you have
due
Disney
to
Plus.
all the Marvel stuff.
Well, yeah, and I know everybody's watched the damn
Mandalorian. Yeah. So I haven't watched it. I have nothing to say about that. I do want to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. Please go watch The Straight Story. It is a fantastic film, whether you like Lynch's other films or not.
Yeah.
This is just a great film, a great story.
It is. I love the fact that we talked to my mom about this, and she's like, "Oh, I know that movie."
We were talking to Danny's mom about it, and at first she's like, "Oh, I don't know," and then
I don't know that
and
movie.
then I think I said Richard Farnsworth, and she's like, "Oh, I know that movie."
She's like, "I love that movie."
Yeah. So
yeah.
So I will let everybody know on this episode. So our live streams are now doubled in where you can watch them.
What?
I can't believe it. We have a Twitch channel now. Twitch.tv/WWYSMT-pod. Just like every other social media thing we have. Yep. If you would like to see us on there instead of the YouTube, check us out on there. I mean,
do that.
Either or, just some more avenues for you guys to check out our live streams.
Or continue to listen to us and not look at us.
There you go.
Okay
do that too. We're okay with whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want.
Episodes will still just be on the YouTube.
Yes.
Live stream. The YouTube. Live stream stuff is just going to be on Twitch. We still have the audio version if you want to do that. Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Wherever podcasts are.
Exactly. So please join us next week for our wonderful, wonderful conclusion to our Lynch marathon with Inland Empire.
Yes.
The movie that Laura Dern should have won Oscar for, since Lynch did sit on the corner with a cow.
Yes, he did. And we'll get into that when we discuss Inland Empire. But
yes,
that's one of my favorite things about it.
You don't even know the movie, but you know that you love
that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in yet again. And we will hopefully see you Saturday at the live stream or next Monday for Inland Empire.
Oh, what are we doing for the live stream?
Oh, yes, for the live stream. Anyone that has been to the live stream, anyone that has listened to pretty much any of these past few episodes, they know that I love the Monster Club. Yep. And we're finally watching the Monster Club.
Yep.
It's going to be great. We're going to have our friend of the podcast, Luke, on with us. So please be there for that because I will be singing along with all the songs.
Oh, I know.
And it will be a very, very fun time.
Yep.
So
come to Will's sing along.
Come to my sing along because that's what it's going to be.
We're going to call it that now.
Okay. Will's sing along. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.